Hello, I'm George Cairns, and in this video lesson we're going to look at how to use Digital Photo Professional 4, that's Canon's free image organizing and editing software, to take a look at photographs and indulge in some quality control, spot problems with focus, composition, etc. Now at the moment we're down in the grid view, which you can see at the bottom left here, and the thumbnails are being viewed as a grid. You could always double click on a thumb to zoom into a separate window here, and then you can click again to zoom in and drag around to check for problems such as color fringing, focus, etc. But that's a little bit messy, and I have to move it around to get access to the thumbs in the background. So I'm going to close that, and we're going to use the more convenient multi-layout view. If we click on this option down on the bottom left, you get the multi-layout with horizontal thumbnails. So you can see the thumbs on the bottom and a nice large image at the top. So everything's much easier to access. And again, you can click to zoom in, and it's just rendering up a cleaner, sharper version. You can see a little rendering icon there. We can scroll around and have a look at the focus problems we might have in this particular shot. Click again to zoom out. Now we can summon extra information such as the shooting information, and that's kind of useful as well, because if you've got a slow shutter speed, then that tips you off that you might have some motion blur from camera shake or your subject moving, for example. ISO speed might be really high, so you could have some noise to look out for. So it's always handy to see the information appearing here. It might be a bit cluttered, you might not need to know everything that's here, so what you can do is click on the pop-up icon here, go to Shooting Info Display Settings, and you can say, well, I don't need to see the file name or the file size. These are useful here, so we'll keep those, but we might not need to know which lens was used, for example. So you can fine tune things by ticking these boxes here and then click close for a less cluttered information overlay. Let's jump to another photograph just to change our topic slightly. It might be useful to check which autofocus point was used in the camera, so you can check that that particular area is nice and sharp, and you can do that by clicking here to turn on the active focus point. And you also have the option to turn on all the available focus points in the camera by clicking here and then turning on show all autofocus points, and you can see which possible points could be used by the lens. But this is the active one in the middle here. I don't really need to see these focal points, so I'm going to click here and turn those off, so we only see the active focus point. Now, one really handy way to enjoy some quality control and to work out which is your favorite photograph is to use a pin. And you can do that by either right-clicking on the image itself and choosing pin, and that will split the view into two. And at the moment we're seeing the same photograph in both, but if I use the right arrow key, we can then scroll through any of the photographs in the horizontal thumbnail line there and see different photographs appearing on the right, whereas the pin one stays pinned on the left. So that's a great way of comparing similar photographs. If I want to unpin things, I can right click and choose pin, untick that, and there we are back to our original photograph. We can go to another photo, such as this one, and I can pin that by right-clicking, or I can just click on this icon here, which enables me to pin and compare images in the horizontal multi-layout view. So let's do that and use the arrow key to scroll through shots until we get a similar shot, and maybe one that we prefer. So this is just a good way of looking at two photographs in a larger view. And you can see we've got an active focus point that's different in both shots. So we're trying out different focal points to try and get the relevant parts of the swans in focus. And you can see the aperture's on 11, so that's quite a narrow aperture. So it's more likely that we've got more of the swans in focus. Let me just click here to zoom in for a closer look at that bit there. And I can move around. And you can see it's looking fairly sharp, but I think it needs a little bit of work to sharpen up more detail. Click again to zoom out. Click on this one. And again, you can see this one's looking again fairly sharp, but again, I would probably apply some sharpening to that to make the picture stand out more effectively, especially in a print. So that's the multi-layout view, and that's one way to compare photographs by pinning one and scrolling through adjacent shots in another window. But I'm just going to right click and unpin that and show you another way to have a look at your photographs. Let's just go back to grid view and let's scroll to another one of our swan shots. Let's tick on this one here, and then we can go to quick check, which gives us an entirely different view, which is a very quick way of looking at the shot nice and large. And we can also assign things such as ratings. Let's give that one 4, and you can add check marks as well. So you could say check mark 1 is the photographs that are going to be rejected, or photographs that are going to be processed might be check mark 5. So let's click that one to show that it needs a bit of editing, and you can see the check mark appearing up here. And you can also turn on things such as the focus point used, click to zoom in for a closer look, click to zoom out again. So this is just a nice clean window, and that enables you to get a better idea of what the photograph is looking like without being distracted with other photographs in the thumbnail views. And for an even better look at your photo, you can click full screen, and that just fills the entire monitor with your shot, so you can get a much better look at the colors, tones, focus, noise, etc. Press escape to come out of that. And when you're finished with quick check, you can go back to the grid view, and you'll notice now we've got stars added and a check mark as well. And once you've added ratings and check marks to a few files, then you can filter to find those particular files by turning filter on and then clicking here to choose the criteria that you're looking for. So you might look for things with a check mark of 5, for example. Let's untick none for the moment. So check marks of 5 that have a rating of 4 stars, for example, and that then shows up with the swan shot here. And you can have exactly the rating you want, or you could have no more than a particular star rating, or at least 3 and above. There's quite a combination there, and you can mix and match to find your files more effectively. And you can also look for particular files such as just JPEGs, just RAW files, or just movie files, for example, depending on what you've ticked on the extension. So that's a cool way of filtering your files to find things with ratings, check marks, and so on. But I want to see all my files, so I'm going to click close and turn the filter off.